Great. Just by opening comment, really fun to just again see the team happy, successful, and have something tangible to show for their work to this point. Certainly doesn't mean that we're perfect. I continue to see steady improvement and improvement in areas, also other areas that need work being exposed. But tough place to play, meaningful game, and that matters. And so lots gone into it, and just proud of my team. This week, primary goal and objective would be rest and renewal and recovery. Early season has been a challenge, and then that frames all conference all the time, 6 weeks straight. And so how we manage the bye week is going to be really important. So still designing the plan. It's not all the way set. I'm through today so far. I don't have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday set yet, but I do have Monday set. But again, rest and renewal, self-assessment, early schematic work on our opponent, recruiting, academics, all that happening at the same time. And again, I think it's important. The state championship is important. It's important for both sides. And I think the atmosphere reflected that. I think the way both teams played reflected that. And I think the people in the state, the game matters to them. And so, again, good win for our program and a nice start leading into conference play.
When we mentioned the second bye week on Saturday night, I believe your reaction then was thank goodness. I mean, just given the overall situation with health, especially in the defensive side of the ball, I mean, how key is this bye week in particular?
You know, before the season, it's hard to project. I've never had a season with 2 bye weeks before. That means I've never had one with 3 bye weeks before. And at first I was thinking, man, I think I was tinging it or twisting it more negative than positive. Now I'm thankful for this one, especially. I think the first one came at a good time, and gosh, hard to project what it's going to be like before the Hawaii game, what that one looks like, but I'm sure thankful we have 2 going into this one. And same context, I would say, getting our roster as healthy as possible for a 6-week run of all conference play. If I could have scheduled it myself, I would have placed it here based on the projected early season and then this run. And so ideal is the best way I could put it.
Out of curiosity, why did you kind of twist it maybe towards a more, not completely, but a little bit more of a negative lean towards the multiple bye weeks?
Gosh, it just never, I like rhythm, I like momentum, and normally there's been success to stack on. And I don't really like things to get in the way of that. And so there's a rhythm that comes with success, and there's a rhythm that comes with preparation. There's a rhythm that comes with winning. There's a rhythm that comes with working. And when you step outside of that, sometimes then you have to restart it. And to restart something takes more energy than to stop, or rather than stopping, it takes more energy to stop and restart than it does just to keep it rolling. But in this case, and at this time, with this team and with this program, as I'm learning now, I think it's been helpful.
Coach, can you just elaborate more on the health of the defense? I know you said it's a perfect time, but kind of what's going on there?
Yeah, just I won't go into the specific players, but we have up to 6, maybe 7 that could possibly return for Air Force, which would be great. That doesn't mean, and it's not a promise, that 7. But if it's 4, that's better than 3. 5's better than 4. 6 is better than 5. So just, being able to get back to full capacity prior to the conference run will help our team.
And I know you talked about how big it was to win the state championship and going into that building, but just from the scheme of looking at it, how big was this win just for this program, like to get this win now and where you're at in the season?
Oh, I think the timing was critical, and I think for both programs, and I can't speak for them, but it seemed to me that the context of the game felt almost desperate. That doesn't mean it was desperate, but to get another win or to get a win prior to the conference season and the rest of the season, momentum's important, and confidence is important, and optimism and hope is important, and all those things help frame, I think, why the game was as impactful as it was, at least for our program. And yeah, winning matters, and when you win, practicing winning is also important. And when you're moving programs that haven't been successful to being successful, every win matters. The takeaways, again, the confidence, but also what it feels like. And it's more likely than you do it again each time that you do it at least once.
The offense had terrific balance, and it seemed like the timing was really, really together for both aspects of that running game and passing game. Must have been fulfilling to see so many different things working.
Yeah, it starts with really good players. And they were, our offense was given a great plan, but quarterback is essential. And so when you have a quarterback that can extend plays, and that has given our opponents struggles through the entire season. And so we're finding a way to get behind defenses, not necessarily by initial design, but by Devin scrambling. And so extended plays are making it much more difficult for defenses to defend us. But then the volume of players that the ball could go to. And so besides Devin running and throwing, Eli, as well as Javen, and now Nakari in the backfield, Bruckler at tight end, Wysong and RD at receiver, and then you add Medford and Trujillo also. Defenses can get stretched pretty thin pretty fast, and we still haven't given up a sack yet. That's as much with the offensive front as it is anything, but then Devin's ability to get out of trouble. And so if you can't get negative yardage plays, and there's that kind of balance, and again, it's not all timing specific, it's creation specific as well, that's leading to pretty significant points. Knowing that, right, red zone scoring, right, that has been a target. And yeah, it's difficult to score that many on the road. So really good players, a good scheme, in addition to the ability of our quarterback to create, makes it pretty tough for an opponent.
Watched it on TV, and on one particular play, incomplete pass, you could see him on the sidelines. His expectations, obviously, his competitiveness, he holds himself to a high standard.
He does, and Devin was disappointed with, and it didn't come from me. He was disappointed with his game against Fresno State, and just at one point last week, he just said, "I can be better than that." And he was probably referring to the turnovers, but I think he's playing really well. He holds himself, the best players, and I think the most fierce competitors do. The expectations aren't driven by the coach, they're driven internally, and Devin is like that.
Have you guys made any redshirt decisions to this point, or how do you kind of handle that situation?
It's a new era. There's only really one redshirt decision that has been made formally, and in today's era, it used to be, in terms of comparison, where the head coach, director of player personnel, you'd work on your succession plan, and you'd look at your depth, and then you'd go to a given player and say, "We think it'd be in your best interest to redshirt." And that actually was counting on, right, continuous or a continuous eligibility at an existing program, years 1 through 5. That doesn't really exist now. And so the players really are the ones that are initiating, "Coach, I'd like to redshirt," or "I'm looking at my future and I'd like to redshirt." And so players are really deciding and determining and have the say whether they redshirt or not. And they're putting that in the context of what does their chance look like at that given program versus transferring to another program, versus if a player in front of them might transfer to another program and what their role might be. And so we really haven't been faced with, I think, maybe what most programs are going through with the the number of players wanting to redshirt or players of significance in terms of key roles now saying, yeah, my role isn't what I want, I'm going to redshirt. Most of the time, if that happens, they're intending to transfer at the end of the year. So we've only had one at this point where it's been formalized, which, yeah, the morale, the camaraderie, the culture, the unity, the direction of our team is really strong. And I think that's an indicator of that.
Who is the formalized redshirt?
Yeah, rather not say at this point. That's that investigative journalism that you'll have to earn your money through.
Now, Coach, it's always nice to talk about your strengths. The offense is looking really good. Viewing the game on TV, now, was this running back like NFL caliber? It seemed there was a lot of broken tackles or a lot of arm tackles. Was he that good? And how do you improve on that on the defensive side?
So I think New Mexico State has a really good scheme offensively. I like their running backs. I like their running game. And I think it's really easy to generalize. And so I think he was capable. Through 3 quarters, the game had gone about how we had expected in terms of score. What our defense continues, and this is a great thing, there's continued improvement, but there's also then continued things that need to be improved. In this particular game, now putting away a game. And so our defense had 3 chances in the fourth quarter to be in a setting that they haven't been in yet. That means to put away a game. And with that, right, 2 were short fields. But then there comes the chance of, with heightened expectations, right, penalties increased, execution decreased, and 21 points went on the board in the fourth quarter. Without that, yeah, there's some broken tackles and there's some missed tackles. But really, if you put it in context of 3 quarters versus 1 quarter, context of the game, situation of the game, man, is that going to be valuable down the stretch in the Mountain West. Because there's a great chance the offense will be out there or the defense will be out there multiple times to put away a game. So lots of takeaways: execution, concentration, poise. Execution, concentration, poise. When the game's on the line, that has to be at its best. And we had 3 opportunities. Each one of those opportunities, a 15-yard penalty, was part of that drive that led to a touchdown. The one there wasn't a 15-yard drive, it was 3 and out. Small and simple things, and that's really, in the meantime, yeah, the running back had a good day, 2 big plays, and the rest, I thought our defense played actually more consistent right until the fourth quarter and the final 3 drives, which is part of the same game, but also was a game within a game based on context.
Going back to your guys' running game, you guys really leaned on it this past game, and I know you spoke to Devin being able to create and stuff, but just talk about, I guess, you guys having to go to that and really succeeding, having that to be able to lean on. Obviously, you guys throw the ball a lot, but how is that, having that dimension and being able to lean on that moving forward too?
It's essential for our offense going forward within reason, right? Each time you run Devin, there's risk of injury. It was a big game. They're all big, but this one more particularly, in context of where we were in the season and it being against our rival. And so we love the idea of running Devin more. It makes our other running backs, including Nakari, more effective, makes Javen more effective, makes the perimeter runs more effective. And so it's just harder to defend. And then when there's RPO or play action off of that, it's a challenge. And so we just have to do a really nice job of determining and planning when and in what context Devin keeps it, and then managing the end of his runs to make sure he's not taking extra shots that he doesn't need to. But it sure is more difficult to defend. In addition to the creation plays, which are unscripted, when you have that option for him within script, gosh, that's tough.
For sure. No, I mean, you spoke to, obviously, hitting conference hard now. Just curious, your thoughts on the strength of the conference and what you've seen so far.
I think parity is the right word. There are a couple schools that looks like they're emerging as kind of front runners at this point. Neither are on our schedule, but the rest, I think, if you had to describe, which is exciting for everyone in Lobo football, as well as probably every other Mountain West school, I'm not sure anyone thinks they're out of any given game. It looks like parity is the way to describe this, which I'm excited about.
Sacks are kind of an absolute in viewing pressure and, how well a team can generate it and all that. We touched a little bit on Saturday night, but with 6 sacks on the season, I mean, how are you viewing the pass rushing situation at this point and how effective you guys have been?
Man, not nearly what I'm used to. Love the chance for third down to be where the opponent or the opposing offense is just uncertain and thinking protection first. They're certainly not doing that now. A year ago, UNM struggled with pressure. I think 12 on the year. We're certainly, and I'm certainly used to more, not only quarterback hits, but hurries and sacks. So we'd like more disruption in general. Looking for ways to manufacture that, but to do that, you also have to have coverage that matches, right? That initial looks are taken away from the opponent. And so still kind of cracking the code on getting that exactly right. Some signs of progress, some signs of personnel emerging, different ways to create it, but not where we'd like it yet.
I know you haven't seen it in a while, but I mean, how nice is it to have a couple extra days to not just prepare for the triple option, but what Troy Calhoun and those guys do at Air Force? It's
great. Another just real benefit to having the bye, not only this time of year, but with that being the opponent coming up. In a regular week, it never quite feels like enough time, usually, and I love the challenge of defending the option. It's just it's an occasion to rise to. Usually leads to Friday night walkthroughs right up until bed check, and then you wake up and do it again, and you do that right until you get on the bus to go to the game. It's like you're trying to get reps every minute you can prior to showing up to the stadium. And so with a few extra days, again, health and renewal for our team is first, but we'll still be able to get game planning done and initial looks done that we wouldn't have in a normal game week, which will be helpful.
Coach, is this the first time that Bryce Santana and Tyler have played together, Tyler Keeney? And any comments on Tyler's game? It looked like he had a really good game.
That's a really good question. I don't know right offhand, but I actually texted Tyler after the game yesterday after I'd had a chance to review it a number of times. I usually go through it 3 or 4 times per side of the ball, and Tyler did a nice job. And so I just shared that with him. And wow, did we need him to, knowing that both Devin Brandt and Kyler Drake were out. And, Garrison Walker was in and out as well. So both Tyler and Bryce really helped us because we were basically out of defensive tackles.
Has there been any update to the Andrew Henry situation yet?
There hasn't been. The official declaration by the NCAA to our compliance, and there's a tracer that comes from the original school he transferred from. And so details are a little bit unclear, but original account from the tracer and what was said to UNM and how that is basically ruled that he does not have eligibility remaining. And so he played a couple plays this year. And so, but the NCAA then stepped in and said it appears that he's ineligible, does not have eligibility remaining. There's an appeal process and a review process and all that, which I'm sure is ongoing. Andrew and his family are pursuing that. But at this point, he's not available.
And then was Cam Watts' absence on Saturday due to an injury?
It was.
Pierre Camini as well?
No, not Pierre. Yeah, special teams. It's okay.
He was the guy number 69, number 12 wearing 69.
Oh, man. That was lost shifts.
Anything else?
We've talked a lot about who has stepped up defensively for you this past week. There were definitely new contributors in significant ways offensively out of the backfield with Nakari Rogers, whom you mentioned briefly, and Soljay Mayaba Peters. I'd love for you to give your thoughts on how they played.
Yeah. I think just that you're asking and that you noticed them shows that they made a difference. Nakari, number of touchdowns and the number of rushing yards, but it was how the yards came. They weren't uncontested, right? They were contested, physical, tackle-breaking runs, which gives us, another really nice element to physicality with the weapons around. That's a different challenge as well. So that was really great to see. And Soljay's a really good football player. For the fans that remember his performance as BYU's quarterback when they played SMU here, he was running, and I'm not sure he even threw a pass in that game, but he's capable of a lot of different things. And I think you'll just continue to see us use him creatively because he can do a lot of different things: run, throw, catch. He's just a good football player.
No one asked it. Can you comment a little bit? Aaron Rodriguez shows up right before the game, ends up as Mountain West Player of the Week.
Yeah, Aaron Rodriguez, in the nursing program here at UNM, which he's part of, which is rigorous and challenging. And I wish I could remember the name of the ceremony, but their pledge ceremony, but they're awarded their coats and all that. That was happening Friday night, and Aaron asked if he could be excused from riding with the team so he could be part of that Friday, which that's absolutely, it's college football. I mean, there's more to it, even though it feels like it's everything. I love the idea of being able to, for our young people and our players to be able to become more than just football players. And so he was able to participate in that, came down on Saturday, and then, field position that he contributed to, I think, his best game of the year. And what better time? And when you put it in context of who he's becoming and what he's going to contribute to society in addition to that, yeah, that's really cool. Thank you.